So I think we're live. If people are in the chat, if you can let me know if it's going live, a couple of minutes early, but I've done this just in case there is a problem. So I'm going to switch over. I've done it again. There we go. We're having Inception Paul because I forgot to turn the speakers down. So it looks like it's going out. I'm just going to pop over to the chat. So Josh is here, winner of the contest last month. Congratulations. Have you bought something with that? Yeah. If you have, if you've decided what you've bought with it, let us know in the chat. Paul Duxton's here, who's moderating the chat. Rick's here as well. So hello to everybody. And yeah, let me know. Harry's here. Hi from Vancouver. Hello. I'm hoping that you've got really, really nice snow over there. I think that's what you get. Emma's here from France. Hi, Emma. So yeah, just let me know if the chat and the video is working okay. My dad's downstairs watching things off Amazon Prime. So I'm not sure if that's going to affect all of the video quality, because of course my video quality is terrible anyway, because I don't have fiber yet, because I can't get it in this area. Right, so yes, got the chat. Jupiter's here from Syracuse and saying looking good, and I assume you can hear me as well. So we're all good. This is the last Q&A for 2018, and yeah, for those people who are joining early, let's get the contest done first. So not that getting an early entry has any bearing on whether you win or not, but anyway, so basically what you need to do if you want to enter the contest, if you are watching this live, please send me an email to paul.grogan@outlook.com, and this time the word to use, which you can put in the subject line or the body text, whatever, is chameleon. If you can spell it. I can't spell it, but anyway, chameleon. I still don't have a name for him yet, even though it says Colin on the label, which I found is funny because I always call my fluffy pets by the first letter according to what they are. So I've got Barney the beaver, I've got Clyde and Charlie, the two cats. So it's going to start with the name beginning with C. I haven't decided yet what it's going to be called, and on the label it says Colin. So yeah, so I haven't named the chameleon yet. So yeah, just send me that email with the word chameleon in the subject line. If you are a patron supporter, then you get double entries into the draw as well. If you're not a patron supporter, please consider supporting me on Patreon. Not only will you help me to create more content, but you'll also get 2 entries into the contest each month for the live Q&A. So yeah, right. Now, Ian's here from Bristol. Hello, Ian. Ben's here. Not snowing in Toronto, but pretty cold. Yeah, because you've left the UK now, haven't you, Ben? And you're over in Toronto. Is that a permanent thing or a temporary thing? Yeah, let me know. Paul Bryan's here from Games Law. The contest, by the way, is thanks to Games Law. Games Law have given the £25 games voucher. So thank you very much, Paul, for your continued support. And yeah, right. So let's go to some questions that I got in advance before you lot can think of some more questions to stump me. So first question is from Andrew Clark, a good friend of mine who lives in Exeter. What was your favorite game of 2017? Now, I'm not going to answer this question. The reason is I have just finished filming my top 5 games of 2017. I know it's a little late, like a year late, but the video is finished. It will be uploading tonight. And my Patreon supporters will get a sneak preview of it. And yeah, so I'm not going to answer what my favorite game of 2017 was. But if you want to find out, please check out my top 5 games of 2017 video, which will be going live probably tomorrow. Were you still playing it in 2018? Yes. Some people are probably going to get what it is quite easily anyway. Rick's saying I look quite smart tonight. Yeah, I found a very, very good live tip earlier on today. So if you only get one thing from this Q&A, take this with you. If you decide to wear a jumper like this, you don't have to iron your shirt. There you go. The shirt needed ironing. Couldn't be bothered. Board Game Digger is here. Hello, and thank you very much for the card. Yes, I did get the card. I wasn't sure. Well, on my list of things to do tomorrow is send you a thank you message to say thank you very much for the card. But yes, I'm glad you're here. And yeah, thank you very much for the card. The front of the card, yeah, made me laugh. It's very good. And thank you again for all of the gifts that you brought me at Essen. I am still going through all of those chocolatey goodnesses. that people got me at Essen. So that's definitely going to keep me going over Christmas. Right, back to Andy's question. Were you still playing it in 2018? Yes. Do you predict that you'll still be playing it this time next year? Yes. So there we go. That's my favorite game of 2017 without actually saying it. Right. Brian Hunt wants to know, which board games designer haven't you met who you would like to meet? So I had Alexander Pfister on the show a couple of months ago. I think it was a couple of months ago, just before Essen, so 3 months ago. I haven't actually met him in person yet. So I would like to meet him in person because he's one of my favorite designers. Stefan Feld is one of my favorite designers, and I've not met him. Uwe Rosenberg, I have seen a few times, but never actually sat down and said hello and chatted with him. I was very lucky, honoured, whatever the word is, to have a good chat with Martin Wallace. Now, I've met Martin a number of times over the last 10 years probably now, but we've never actually sat down and had a good chat. And we spent half an hour one night in the bar in Essen. I was sort of on my way home and I was thinking, well, this might be my only chance to actually have a chat with him. And Martin kept just saying, oh, we really must have a get together, me and you, and have a good chat for like half an hour. So we ended up having a good chat. So yeah, probably those three. Right, let's go back to the chat. James is here, Scott's here. Hello, hello, hello. Ben's in Toronto for another year. Right, okay. Well, when you get back, I'll see you at a con and we can play some Ashes. Any new mechanisms introduced this year that really impressed you? From Scott Chrisley. New mechanisms. Oh, I'm not sure. I mean, there hasn't been a new mechanism in terms of, you know, like deck building or something like that. People remind me in the chat, if there was a game that came out this year that had new mechanisms that I've just completely forgotten about because it's been a long day, then let me know. For those people who are watching, you might notice there's a bit of a thing on my head here. This is not a birthmark. I've basically headbutted the wall very, very hard a couple of days ago. So yeah, I have a. It's not a bruise and it's not a lump. It's just a very, very big scab. I'm blaming that for all of the bad decisions that I'm making. And if I can't answer some of the questions tonight, I'm going to blame that. I'm just using it as an excuse. I'm fine. So yeah, new mechanisms introduced this year that really impressed you. A lot of games this year have impressed me. I do every year, 1 month after Essen, I do a 4-day games weekend at my house, and almost all but 2 games that I played that weekend, I was like, wow, this is fantastic. So there were some very, very good games released this year at Essen Spiel, which I played, which were fantastic. Not sure if any of them had any new mechanisms in them. Right. Do I think Keyforge, this is from Jupiter, do I think Keyforge will have a staging presence with organized play and the Crucible Play Online? Well, the Crucible Play Online is unofficial, so that's never going to become an official thing. Whether they start doing Crucible tournaments, they might do, because it's a very good platform and it seems quite stable. Do I think Keyforge will have a staging presence with organized play? I think Keyforge is exciting. Right now, Keyforge is new and it's exciting, and it's still new and it's exciting. So therefore, organized play events that happen in the next 6 months or so, I think are going to be popular. As to the long-term future of Keyforge, I don't know. I'm at the stage now where certainly one of my decks seems like, wow, this is really, really good. And it seems to beat my other decks quite easily. Which if you're playing in a sealed deck tournament, and this is always going to be the problem with Keyforge, if there is a big disparity in the power of the decks, because not all decks are created equal, then surely it's down to just the look of what you get in the pack and not really the skill. Whereas at least in sealed deck tournaments for other CCGs, you open more cards than you get, and then you have to build the best deck you can out of the cards you've got. With Keyforge, all of that deck construction is removed. So yeah, I don't know. Right, what were the best rulebooks written this year, not ones that you were involved with? Excuse me. I mentioned in my Forum Trajanum review that apart from it not being gender neutral, which was a big problem for me, and I have spoken to the publisher and the editor about that and said, you know, I know them and I'm friends with them, but I said, look, get your act together. You know, your rulebook isn't gender neutral. Sort it out. Apart from that, Forum Trajanum was a fantastic rule book. There were a few actually. Magnastorm was a really, really good rule book. So there's been quite a few rule books that were really good. I mean, the point is, if you're able to play the game from the rule book, it's well laid out, everything follows in a logical fashion, and you don't have any questions during the game, then the rule book's good. And those two games are ones that come to mind just because I've read them recently. In fact, I haven't actually read Magnastorm yet. No, I played it 3 times or 4 times, but I've not read the rule book because Graham taught me how to play. Right, Adam's here. Hello, Adam. Right, so yes, everybody's saying that I should name the chameleon Karma. Lots of people have suggested that. The first time it was like funny. What's the best quality street? Obviously the purple one with the Brazil nut inside. I mean, that's just a fact. Anybody who thinks otherwise is wrong. Right, do you watch any other board game reviewers? Yes, I mean, my time to watch other reviews is limited. I always watch Tom Heath's Liquor Drips, and although Tom's knocking out so much content, he says he has a job. I don't think he does. I think he's got a pretend job and spends all of his days making videos. And Matt Evans from Creaking Shelves, because they're friends of mine. I have them on the podcast. I'd like to think that the three of us kind of support each other as best we can. So I always try and watch their stuff. Other reviewers, there isn't anybody who I watch all of their content. I will dip in and watch what a few people think of games that I'm potentially interested in. Oliver's here from the Tabletop Games blog. Hello, and while you're here, I'll answer your question, which is at the bottom of my list, but it's here. Plans for the holidays. So today I filmed my top 5 games of 2017. I'm doing the live Q&A now, and then tonight I might be playing Terraforming Mars solo on the computer and recording my game. Or I might finish editing the video, or I might go and play a solo game of Heroes of Terra North, and I might film that as well. That's today. Tomorrow, I will be working tomorrow. I'm going to try and get at least one more review done tomorrow morning. Then we're going to Vicky's parents for the evening to have dinner. Then we're coming back here straight away. I will be here from Christmas Day all the way through to New Year's Eve. We'll be going out and doing a little bit of geocaching, depending on the weather. We'll be playing a few games with me, Vicky, and my dad. Holding On, we'll be playing that. Discover Lands Unknown, we're going to play at least one more of that, but not sure whether we're going to play any more. Chronicles of Crime, we're going to play as well. We're going to be playing some computer games. So I backed Mist Oblivion when that came out, what, 3 years ago? And I've not even I've installed it now, but we've not played it. So I'm going to be playing that. We're going to be watching a bit of telly while I am doing some work downstairs. So unfortunately, I will be working Christmas Day and Boxing Day. I have the Keyflow live teach and not live, the Keyflow teach and playthrough video to edit because I was a bit ill this last week and various other things. I didn't get it done, and I need to get it done. So I will be sitting there on Christmas Day and Boxing Day editing that video downstairs. But that's fine because I'll be sat downstairs watching telly at the same time. Plans for 2019, too many to list here. Yeah, it's all very busy at the moment. January, February is pretty much all booked out now with various games and rule books that I'm working on. And I'm now planning sort of the 6 months after that. I am doing a lot of conventions next year, and I'm running my own convention twice. So again, if you're a Patreon supporter, you're going to get early invite to GridCon, which will be happening next year. Right, okay. Unique games as a new mechanism, says Rick. Yeah, I guess unique games is a new thing. Whether it's a new mechanism or not, I don't know. I mean, the one in Keyforge where you choose a house and then you can only play cards of that house, that's quite cool. It's a bit different. Yeah, right. Let's go back to the questions from the Facebook group. Leanne wants to know, what do you personally prefer to buy, standard or deluxe editions? Deluxe editions are nice and they have bling, and if you have the extra money, then I would always probably go for a deluxe edition, just because if it's a nicely well done deluxe edition, then the aesthetics of the game are going to increase my enjoyment because I'm shallow. So I enjoy playing a game with nice pieces. I guess you don't have to be shallow. I guess most people would enjoy playing a game with nice pieces. So yeah, I'd probably go for the deluxe one. It depends on the price. The other thing as well, and it's the same thing as I was sort of mentioning about getting inserts for game. You know, if you've got a game So Mark, a friend of mine, has got Terraforming Mars. He's got all of the stuff for it. He's blinged up the components and he's blinged up this and he's blinged up that. And that's fine because he's played it like 100 times and it's his favorite game and he's going to carry on playing it. But if you buy a game that you like and you've played and you buy the insert for it and you buy some fancy components and then another 100 games come out and you don't play that one anymore, it's like, was it really worth upgrading your game and experience if you're only going to play it once a year? Not sure. What makes a deluxe edition for you? Is it something as simple as upgraded wooden resources instead of cubes or cardboard chits? Yeah, anything really. I mean, the wooden resources instead of cubes is or cardboard components is a common one. So yeah, right. Gaz Gibbons wants to know my favorite game component this year. Oh gosh, this is the problem with. I would say this is the problem with getting questions live, is that I can't actually think about answers. But to be honest, I've got these on the right hand side of my screen. I've got the questions that I got earlier, and I can't think of answers to them either. Game component, favorite game component. I mean, the turtles in Magnastorm are nice, but that's just because they're turtles. I'm not sure. Right, let's just scroll back up. What's happened here? The chat just jumped. Harry wants to know, do you watch football, soccer in North America? No. In fact, it's one of the things about growing up is that, especially when I left university, even back at university and during my A levels, I was the geek who played D&D, and I didn't know anything about anything else. And everybody else was talking about football and watching football and everything else. And then when I got a job, everybody was talking about football and what's going on. I have no idea. I don't follow football. I don't watch football. I will watch England when we get to the Euros or the World Cup, and I will cry when we get knocked out. But that's it. I don't follow football at all, really. Right. David Ellis is here. Hello, David. You've just had to evade Vulkar's wrath. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Right. Odin wants to know, what do you keep going when the going just seems too hard? What do you do to keep going? I'm very, very stubborn, which is sometimes a bad personality trait, but in other ways is a very good personality trait, because if it weren't for the fact that I'm extremely stubborn, I do a lot of things in my life that are very bad for me psychologically and unhealthy and everything else. And I probably should have given up making content and things like that 2 years ago. But I push on just because I'm stubborn and a bit stupid, and I just carry on doing it. Why did you headbutt the wall? Well, me and the wall, we've had this ongoing thing for a few years now. Mage Knight is the best game ever. The wall does not agree with that. So we had a bit of a, you should have seen the wall afterwards, covered in blood. So I think I won that one. Right, let's go back to, I'm going to leave the chat there and I'm going to go back to here. So Brian Hunt says, have you ever returned a board game related Xmas gift for a refund or exchange? Yes, not very often. But a friend of mine got me a game 10 years ago or 8 years ago, and I already had it. So he kept the receipt, I returned it and exchanged it for something else. Philip Dennis wants to know, should more games include a handicap system to allow a better experience when everybody is playing of varying abilities? So for those people who haven't seen it yet, go and watch my review of Magnastorm. I did it this week. Basically, Magnastorm has within the game itself a handicap system where at the end of the game, depending on whether you won, lost, or came in the middle, you will get these cards. And then you turn up to your next game with these cards. And these cards are used to determine the start order and the starting bonuses. So basically, if you're not very good at the game, you're probably going to start your next game with a little bonus. It's not a major thing, but it's a nice little system. I've never seen it before in a game. Anyway, go and watch my review of Magnastorm, even though I've just told you exactly about it. Should more games include it? Oh, well, I personally think yes, because the one that was in Magnastorm is actually quite cool. Whether it'll get used or not, I don't know. Chewy wants to know, do folks tend to get you board games for Christmas gifts? And if so, are they what you want? So I don't really do Christmas. I have the tree here, but that's just because it's Christmas and I thought I'd put a tree here. I don't get cards. I don't get presents. I don't generally receive presents. I feel very uncomfortable receiving presents sometimes for a couple of reasons. Christmas wasn't great for me growing up for various reasons, and the whole thing about receiving presents off people when you are in the same room as them and you open it and it's like completely the wrong thing and they don't know you and they've just got you something that's you don't want, or you've already just bought one of your own, and it's like, why are we doing this? And Christmas was just all of those uncomfortable feelings all the time. And it's also very stressful. If I want to buy somebody a present because I think they deserve it, I'll go and buy them a present. I won't wait until a time of the year when somebody says, oh, you must now buy everybody presents. So I'm not really into Christmas for that way. The other reason is, there was another reason and I can't remember. Now, I have received a couple of presents in the post this week from some people who might be watching this show, and that's not to say that I'm not grateful. Oh, I've remembered the other thing. Opening presents in front of other people is something that I'm uncomfortable with, because I will always react probably badly and I might end up upsetting them or saying the wrong thing. The other thing as well, and I don't want to go into details, but I don't really feel that I deserve presents. So anyway, moving on. Being a Feld fan, this is from Scott again. Being a Feld fan, what are your thoughts on Bruges? Bruges is one of the games which a lot of Feld fans are like, oh, this is really, really good. So I was very keen to pick up a copy of Bruges, and it was a game which was like half the price if you got the German version, but of course there's loads of card text, so you have to buy the English version, and it was insanely priced. It was very, very expensive. I've only got the base game of Bruges. I don't have the expansion. I really like the game. However, after about 5 or 6 plays, the luck factor of whether you get the right cards or not, not sure. It's like there should have been, or there could have been, something else to mitigate the card draw. I do like the mechanics though. I love the way it plays. I mean, I'm a Feld fan, so I do enjoy most of his games. It's just there is a little bit of a luck factor in the card draw of it. Right, what's tonight's keyword for the competition? So yes, it's 6:20. Let's go through the competition again. If you are listening to this live, then you have a chance of winning £25 worth of game vouchers donated by Games Law. Thank you very much to Games Law for donating that. All you need to do is send me an email, paul.grogan@outlook.com. I will do the draw at the end of this show, so about 7 o'clock-ish. So if you're not watching this live, then please don't enter the contest because it will be over. If you're a Patreon supporter, please mention that in the email, and all you need to do is say the word chameleon. And if you want to give him a name, feel free, but as long as you put chameleon in the subject line, then you'll get entered into the contest. What about Codswallop the chameleon? No, not Codswallop. Right, are you thinking to collaborate with Tom Slickerdrip sometime next year? I've wanted to for a while, but he lives quite far away. If he lived closer, then yes, I would definitely be doing it. And I mentioned earlier on that on Christmas Day and Boxing Day, I will be editing the Keyflow video. Well, that's with me, Tom, Rachel, also Slicker Drips, and Matt Evans from Creaking Shelves. So they came here for the weekend, and I taught them how to play Keyflow, and we filmed it. So yes. Right. What's the email address to send it to? Email address paul.grogan@outlook.com. Oblivion came out in 2006. I didn't mean Oblivion. What did I mean? Obduction. That's it. Missed Obduction. Yeah, it's a PC game in the Myst series. Right. Okay. Let's just go up the chat again. I'm going to have a break and have a glass of water. Right, let's go back to the questions that I got from earlier on. Joanna Haswell wants to know what's the cheapest game that has given you the most enjoyment. Now, I did have a think about this one, and I think the cheapest game that's given me the most enjoyment is probably something like Skull, which used to be called Skull and Roses, and is now just called Skull. I can't even remember how much it was, and in fact, I don't actually own a copy of it. I've made my own copy using playing cards. So my personal copy of it is called Spades and Hearts, or Spade and Hearts. So in terms of you said the word fun. Okay, so I'm always going to choose a game of Anachrony over a game of Skull. But for fun, quick, really enjoy it, and it's cheap, it's probably that. I've got a number of other games that are probably in that price category as well. I mean, I don't know what the retail price of Skull is, but you can get code names from Games Law for what, £12, £12.50? So probably code names. I mean, I didn't buy my copy of code names, but if I had done that, that would probably be the most fun I've had. Is Skull more fun than code names? I'm not sure. Right. JP wants to know, he's got 2 questions, so he's clearly not following the rules where you're only allowed to have 1 question, although Brian asked 2 questions earlier. So let's go for it. Right. He's attempted to add a little background flavor to frame them. I hope this is acceptable. No, sorry, not acceptable. No, I'm just kidding. Right. So first of all, with so many new games coming out and having many friends who ordered lots of Kickstarters last year, we are constantly learning and playing new games. It's got to a point where a few of us have initiated a 1 new played rule at game nights. I don't know what he means by that. So we can enjoy playing games without having to learn new rules. Oh, right. 1 new played. No, I think what he means is at game nights, you play 1 game at least where you don't have to teach anybody the rules, because everybody already knows it. Okay. What gaming rule have you initiated or heard others use to make game nights easier to just play games? Oh, I don't have any. So the way that I organize my games evenings or games days is not what some people do. Is I have an open house and I invite everybody. And I never know exactly how many people are coming until they turn up. Because to be honest, even if somebody says, oh yeah, I'm going to be there on Friday night, something might crop up and they'll send me an email and say, sorry, I can't make it. So I invite everybody. I always invite everybody. And then however many people turn up, then we decide what to play. Obviously, you can have some ideas beforehand, but you can't fix exactly what you're going to play because other people might turn up and you can't exclude them. And I have a very big thing about not excluding people. So I don't think I have any gaming rules. No pun intended there. So if anybody has any other ones for JP, then please let me know. I'll read them out in the chat. Now, his second question is, a few friends and I discussed our favourite game of the year, as in a new game to us this year, which is our favourite. Teoti, how do you pronounce it? Underwater Cities, Western Legends, and a few other recent games were discussed. But in the end, it's Time of Soccer 2014. So JP's favourite game of the year, which is new to him this year, is Time of Soccer. Managed to get a copy early in the year after hearing about it and keeping an eye out for resales as it was out of print at the time. Did you discover any hidden or sleeper game not produced in 2018, which is now on your must-have list? Oh, no, probably not. I can't keep up with all of the new games that are coming out. I've got 10 games that I've been passed for review or whatever, which are still in sealed. And I'm like, how am I going to get chance to get in around these? Some of them I'm not going to, and they're going to be donated into a charity auction because, you know, I've gone back to the publishers and I've said, look, thank you very much for sending me this game. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have the time to review it. I will either pass it on to another reviewer or I will put it into a charity auction, but I'll make sure it, you know, I'm not just going to keep it and play it myself or sell it like some reviewers do. So yeah, so I don't have time to keep up with all of the games that are coming out, but did I discover any hidden or sleeper game not produced in 2018, which is now on your must-have list? Not that I can think of, but there may be one. I just can't think. Blame bang on the head again. Right. Kelvin wants to know, what game do you currently play a lot? Well, Gloomhaven, I would say we play a lot because we play it every 2 or 3 weeks. So that's the one that I've probably had more plays of than anything else. At the moment, I mean, I've played Forum Trajanum 4 times since it came out at Essen. I've played Magnastorm 3 times. I've played Reichhold 5 times in the last 2 weeks. But whether I'm going to be playing it again moving forward, I don't know. I needed to play it enough so that I had a good opinion of the game ready to do the review. So yeah, there's a few that I have played a lot of, but what am I going to be playing a lot of moving forward? Probably going to be Gloomhaven. Right. Best game components, the coins in War Chest. Yeah, the coins in War Chest. I mean, War Chest, is a game. I don't know what the retail price of War Chest is, but a lot of that is probably due to the really nice poker chips. The minis in Cerebria were great. Yeah, the minis in Cerebria were really good. And I'm going to be getting a painted set of them at some point in the next few weeks, I hope. I started painting mine and then realized that no, painting's not working out for me at the moment. Any news of a Macau reprint? Lee wants to know. Not that I've heard of. I tried to keep my ear close to the ground with certain things that were going on. I was the one that kind of spread the word a little bit about Terraforming Mars Legacy a few hours before it got sort of announced. So certain things I do hear about, but a Macau reprint I've not heard about. Right. Oh, okay. The chat's just jumped again. Let's go through the rest of the chat so we keep up. Nations had a handicap system according to Andrew Mason. Did it? Okay, let me know about that. I didn't know about that one. I mean, we're talking a handicap system that takes from one game to the next. Thomas is here, my brother from America. Hello, Thomas. And yeah, Christmas is just another day on the calendar to you. Yep, same for me as well. Are there any Christmas-themed games that you know of? Adam wants to know. Yeah, there are. Did a search on BGG the other day, and there are a few Christmas-themed games. I don't know whether there's any good Christmas-themed games. I don't know. David Digby's made it. Hello, David. Ben says he loves the idea of doing a 2017 list after having a year to reflect. Yeah, so it wasn't the plan, and you will hear this at the start of the video, but I was planning to film the best of 2017 in February. That's when I first made the list. I then worked on the list, and I changed my mind a little bit in the list in March and then April, and then it just kept getting put back and put back and put back. So I've done the best of 2017 video now. It's going to be finished editing tonight, and then I'm going to be uploading it either tonight or overnight. But a few people have said it's a really good idea because, as you say, it gives you an extra year to reflect. And my list that I did this morning was different than the list the last time I looked at it. I changed a couple of things around. Are there any games from that year that have had expansions that boosted the game for you? So I'm going to think of what games are on that top 5 list that I'm not going to mention. Go and watch the video. Not that it's up yet. That one. Okay. Yeah. That one. That one. What was my 4th? No, I don't think they have. No, I don't think any of the games that are on my top 5 list have had expansions. You could argue that my number 2 one has expansions, but anyway, right. How do you choose your games based on the theme, mechanics, components? Hi from Canada. Hello, Canada. A few people from Canada tonight. How do I choose my games? Certainly not based on the theme. I kind of, well, I'm going to say I don't care about the theme, right? But if you give me a game that's about, you know, drugs and prostitutes and you've got to run a strip bar, or I'm not interested, right? I'm not interested. So certain themes, I will not. If you give me a Christmas themed game, I'm probably not going to be interested. But that's because I've made an assumption that it's not going to be a very good game, and I might be completely wrong. So the theme to me doesn't matter. It could be space, it could be fantasy, it could be medieval, it could be anything. I'm not bothered about it. It's the mechanics of the game is what makes a game for me. Will I choose a game based on the mechanics? That's interesting. That's kind of hinting at the fact that I look into what the mechanics of the game will be before I choose a game. So my life now is different from when it was. So 20 years ago, I went to Essen for the first time. It's either 19 or 20 years ago. I can't remember. And for those first 10 years of going to Essen, because I've been every year, I did my research. We would get all of the games that we were interested in. We'd read through all the rule books, and then based on the reading of the rule book would tell me whether I was interested in the game. So it's probably mechanics. It's also aesthetics. I mean, I do like a nice looking game, and I famously bought Pillars of the Earth because the board looked nice. I mean, guaranteed. I looked at the game and I saw the pieces being moved around and I saw the cubes. But based on just looking at the game, I bought it. It turns out fantastic game. It's one of my favorite games. I wouldn't choose it on theme because theme isn't that important to me in a game. Steve Manson's here. Hello, Steve. You can feel a win coming on the raffle. Is it in your blood? And you were watching live for the first time in ages, and it's Karma Chameleon. Yeah, good joke. It's good. Lots and lots of people have suggested Karma. So yes, welcome, Steve. Glass of water. Vicky is going to wonder where you've dumped her flowers from that vase. It's not a vase, it's a South Cotswold 16th Beer Festival. The last time I went out, 2011, did something fun, got this. And it's not water, it's vodka. Codenames Duet, Oliver's saying, is his wife's favourite. Been playing it every evening for weeks on end. Great. I don't know how far you've got on the map. Oh, and Paul from Gameslaw says that Skull is £18. Right. Scrap what I said earlier on. £18 for that game. That's an insane price. I mean, it's just 24 beer mats and a rule book. That is very, very strange. And Ian's saying Skull surprises me knowing your love of bluffing. Yeah, I don't like bluffing games. So Coup, I can't play, right? And I just can't do that. Skull, I really like. So it's an exception to the rule. Oh, Chris and Lindsay are here from Behind the Box. Hello, hope you're all well. I will be once all my work's done for the year. That'll be, yeah, that's not going to happen. Philip Millman's here. Hello, Philip. Thank you for popping in. Ash Sun is here. What games is everybody getting giving this Christmas? Hopefully none for me. Carl's here as well. Hello, Carl. What game are you most looking forward to playing or working on next year? On Mars. It's got to be on Mars. I mean, my work for next year, I know some of it already. So I know the work that I'm going to be doing in January and February. And I'm going to be working on Mars for Vita Lacerda. I'm going to be doing a video for Dominant Species Marine. I think I'm going to be doing something for Yokohama Duel. I'm going to be doing the rulebook for Hyperspace, which is Sandy Peterson's new game. So I'm quite excited a few of them. I will be doing rulebooks for Luda Creations, Alley Cat Games. Vlaja might have a new big game next year. Might. He's been working on a game. I know about it. I'm not allowed to say anything about it. I really want to say stuff about it. I can't. You'll absolutely kill me. The game is based on something that I already love. And I was actually going to make my own game based on this something myself a couple of years ago or a few years ago, because this something is something that I really like. Vlaj has been working on this game for a while. I will have a chance to play it in March when I go over there, when I go to the Czech Republic. And at that time, March or April, CGE will decide whether they are going to do the game at all, because it might not happen. Whether they're going to do it this year or whether they're going to do it next year. It might sound crazy. Vlaj is working on a game, but for those people who work in the industry, you will know this. For those people who don't work in the industry, it's not like I thought it was, and especially where Vlaj is concerned, because he will work on it, he will design a game, he'll work on a game, and then people will play that game and go, oh my God, this game is fantastic, right? This game is brilliant. And then he will have a change of heart, or he'll lose interest in it, or he'll go somewhere else, or he'll realize that there's one small problem in the game that a few people won't like, and he can't fix that problem, so he doesn't release the game, and he scraps it and he goes on to something else. He's a crazy genius. But what that means is people like me who love his games for the last 4 years have been strung along with, oh, Paul, I've got this another new game that I'll tell you about. And I'm like, right. And he tells me all about it. And I get all excited. And then I speak to him a few months later and he says, oh, no, we've scrapped that one. And this has been going on for 4 years now. However, this time I feel that there's something different. If it happens, I mean, I'm going to get a chance to play this game for the first time in March. Cross fingers. He might decide by then that it's all scrapped. If he doesn't scrap it, I will get a chance to play it in March. I won't be able to say anything about it whatsoever, and I won't be able to bring a copy home, and I won't be able to show anybody. But if that happens, that is going to be the game that I'm most excited about playing this year. Right, there we go. A long-winded way of me. But there's plenty of other games I'll be working on next year that I don't know about. It's like the people who say, oh, what's your most anticipated game of 2019? I don't like to say those things because right now, at this moment in time, I probably only know about 1% of the games that are coming out next year. So it's unfair for me to say what my favorite game next year will be when I really don't know anything about it. Right, let's scroll up a bit more. Thanos Rising. Yeah, Thanos Rising, is that the one with the big Thanos in the middle? I saw that being played. It looks a bit too dicey for me. Reinald Fratty says, am I the only one in Teotihuacan thinking on not moving one eclipse step when some dice is reaching a 6? At least 2 players, it feels frustrating when the game moves that quickly because people reaching the value 6 is part of the game. When you reach value 6, the eclipse track moves along, and that's the timer. And if you don't do that, the game will run a lot long. Susie and Debs are here. Hello. Sorry you're late. That's fine. We've got 20 minutes left. And it's about time to remind you of the contest. So if you're watching this live, you can enter the contest. You need to send me an email. Excuse me. paul.grogan@outlook.com. Include the word chameleon in the subject line or message body. And if you're a patron supporter, please mention that in the email and you will get 2 entries into the contest. And you will win £25 of games vouchers from Games Law. Thank you very much to Games Law. Josh won the contest last month and hasn't spent the vouchers yet, but he's going to buy himself Underwater Cities when it comes back into stock. Is Underwater Cities the only heavy game of 2018? I'm sure it's not. I'm sure there are other heavier games that came out in 2018. Out of all of the ones that I've got plenty of medium to heavy games in 2018. I would class Underwater Cities as probably, I don't know. It's verging on heavy, and the longer playtime makes it a little bit more inaccessible than something like Forum Trajanum, for example. So yeah, Underwater Cities, is it heavy or is it medium to heavy? Yeah, I'll say heavy for now. Adam wants to know, how's my Arkham Horror campaign going? So, so me, Rob Turner, and Adam started Arkham Horror: The Dunwich Legacy when July. I think we started it in July, and we only we agreed that we'd only play it when the 3 of us met up, which is every 6 months. We played through scenarios 1, 2, and 3 of that campaign. So that was the university, the speakeasy, the library, and then we got together a few weeks ago and we did scenario 4, which is the one on the train. And we didn't do very well. We then decided, since Adam's since bought the game and has played it lots himself, that we would carry on playing the campaign with me and Rob. And we asked Emily to join us. So Emily joined us and we played the next scenario, which was Blood on the Altar. And we did really badly again, like really, really badly. Now, for a number of reasons, not just that we did badly, and I know the scenario, I know the campaign carries on regardless, but we've decided to start again because Emily's joined us and we wanted to start again because those 2 scenarios went stupidly badly. We knew that it would have been just fruitless carrying on. We're at such a disadvantage now. It's crazy. And we would have just continued to get worse and worse and continue to die. So we've decided to start again with Emily taking over. We've not actually started again. We've built our characters, but that's it. Right. Cy Teal wants to know, is there a theme stroke style of board game that's missing from the market? If you could design and develop it, what would it be? I've designed, I say designed, I've got a few notes on a piece of paper. So is there a theme or style of board game that's missing from the market? Excuse me. I'm not sure. I mean, there probably is, but until I see it, I won't know. I mean, there's lots and lots of themes out there, which is great. And in the last 5 years, the theme of games have been really moving away. So if we take Holding On, which I mentioned earlier on, I'm going to be playing that over Christmas. Cooperative game where you are trying to provide palliative care for a guy who's had a heart attack on an aeroplane and he's in hospital and you're the hospital staff. Better than trading in the Mediterranean. I don't mean better, but it's a different theme. So more and more themes are being explored, more and more different ideas. Fog of Love, great idea. I wasn't too keen on the game itself, but the theme of the game is just brilliant. So there's so many games coming out with really, really good, unique themes. If I could design and develop it, yeah. So the one that I was working on, And it's not a great story because I was actually going to be working on it, and it was all agreed, and it was going to have Larger and Isaac. We were all co-designing a game together, and then things happened, and it stopped, and it wasn't down to me. So that was a real disappointment. But I love the idea of a game like Time Stories, where you do one run and you go certain places and you realize that behind the red door is the dragon, and you die or you take loads of damage or whatever, and then you find where the key is. Oh, right, the key's in the kitchen in the cupboard, right? And then the time runs out, so you reset, and then you're like, right, next time we play, right, we know the key's in the cupboard and not to open the red door. Great. I like that in Time Stories. I like the fact that you rewind time and do it again, but you do it differently. But Time Stories is only playable once. Each scenario is only playable once. And what I've been doing is I've been working on a game that uses that rewinding time and doing it again mechanism, but in a replayable game. The game is generated for you, and the game will be different every game. So in game number 1, behind the red door is the dragon. Right, we know the dragon's behind the red door. Don't open the red door until we've got the ring of fire resistance. Right, okay. In game 2, everything's reset. Everything will be different. So that red door might not be a red door. Well, let's say it is a red door, but behind the red door in game 2 is the pile of treasure. Basically, every game is different, but you learn from it as you play and you rewind time, and it's a space thing. Anyway, I'd love it to happen. It's going to require a huge amount of work, and I have no free time, so that's probably not going to happen. Don't play Sons of Anarchy. Sebastian says, you might have thought it was called Men of Mayhem. Right, Sons of Anarchy, based on the TV series. I thought I'd heard good things about that, but you hear good things about every game, and then I go and play it, and it turns out it's rubbish. Right, I'm going to go back to the questions that I was asked earlier on. Rick wants to know, music to play alongside a game, any preference? I see that there are game soundtrack CDs that you can buy to accompany a game for atmosphere, fun, or a waste of money. It really depends on the game. I keep saying I want to play the Arkham Horror card game with candles lit and spooky music going on in the background, but sometimes it does just get in the way. Do we want to play Gloomhaven with the Lord of the Rings soundtrack in the background? Mark tried to play Marrakesh at the club last week and had, is Marrakesh in Morocco? Anyway, Moroccan market music playing in the background. And after 5 minutes, he just switched it off because it was distracting. So it can be a bit distracting. I don't normally do it, but I'm sure some people would. Andy Grant says, if you had to attend a con dressed as any game character, any game character or piece, what would it be? Can people give me some suggestions in the chat? If I went to a con dressed up, and only sensible answers, please. What game character or piece do you think I should dress up as? All I can think about is one of the cloth cubes from Kalos. Rick wants to know, travel versions of games. Should more games develop these, or is it just a watered down and bad quality version? There are travel versions of some games. I've not had a holiday now for over 4 years, so travel versions of games for me are irrelevant. And if I was going to take a travel, if I was going to take a game with me to travel, I'd take something like Keyforge. I'd take something which is small, or Codenames Duet, or something like that. I would take a game which in itself is a travel version. I wouldn't be able to take a travel version of Underwater Cities, for example. And if there was one, it would probably be a very cut down version of it. And there's all these roll and writes at the moment, Welcome To and Ganchon Clever and things like that. There's plenty of games that you can take with you. Paolio Nene wants to know, how easy are you to buy gifts for? So anybody who was watching earlier on will have heard me talk a little bit about Christmas and how I don't do Christmas and I don't do gifts. So how easy am I to buy gifts for? I'm almost impossible to buy gifts for, and I don't really want anybody to buy gifts for me unless they are edible or drinkable. Is drinkable a word? Yeah, I think so. It's edible, not eatable. Is there another word for drinkable? Anyway, because them I like, unless it's like, alcohol, because I don't really drink alcohol these days. So getting me something alcoholic is like, well, thank you very much, but I gave up alcohol. What would always make you happy if it came through? Ice cream. If somebody sent me a pack of ice cream in the post, I'd be happy for 2 reasons. 1, it's ice cream, and 2, the technology to keep it cold. But yeah, to be honest, edible gifts, street waffles, Jaffa cakes, anything like that, really good. Right, okay, so let's go back to the chat. If I've missed anybody's things in the chat, then apologies, because there's quite a lot of them. Hi from Dubai. Hello. All the way from Dubai. So what time must it be there? I don't know. Is Dubai 1 hour ahead, 2 hours ahead? So it's not too late. Do you know anything about the Teotihuacan expansion? Because unfortunately, you didn't like the game as much as you thought you would. I don't know anything about the expansion. Has it been announced? I know there's a Dice Settlers expansion, but I didn't realize there was a Teotihuacan expansion announced. Okay, right. Send me the link if there was. Ben says, what's your favorite board game artwork from this year? Right, absolutely no question, Cerebria. The artwork in Cerebria is I don't get feelings from artwork. I can understand that some people do. I don't look at a piece of artwork and it doesn't give me any feeling. Cerebria does. I look at the artwork in Cerebria and I have the same feeling as when I found this little guy in the shop. It was like, oh, that's just so good. And every piece of artwork I look in Cerebria, so many of them are just so cute, and so many of them are just so good. And even the nasty, horrible emotions, that style of artwork, I can't remember who the artist is, but Cerebria, oh, it just blew me away. The artwork in Cerebria, absolutely fantastic. So that's got to be my favorite one. Oliver says you've nearly finished Codenames Duet. Wow, fantastic. I can't even get past, what, level 2 or 3 or anything like that. Oh, it's skipped again. This chat keeps skipping and I keep missing bits. Oh gosh, there's a lot. Right. Is On Mars going to be Eagle Griffin from Nigel Graves? Thank you for joining us, Nigel. Yes. Vital is doing On Mars with Eagle Griffin Games, Ian O'Toole, me. It's kind of a team. The teams worked well together. Obviously, my role in it is not as much as Vital's and Ian's, but I'm still involved in it. I don't just do the rulebook. I do late game development as well. So yes, it is going to be that. Right, Andrew, back to the nation's handicap system. It's self-imposed. You select a difficulty level and every player chooses a different level. Ah, yes, I remember it now. So you've got these difficulty levels, which is based on the computer game Civilization, like Chieftain and Emperor, and you choose one of them going in. So if a player was really good at the game, you can say, well, you're playing on Emperor level. So yeah, there you go. Formula D or Flamme Rouge for David Ellis for your non-gaming family and friends, some of which who are into F1. Right. When I first got into board games and I left the Magic the Gathering environment that had taken over my life. So this is 99. The group of people who I was playing games with, which was Martin Bailey, Ian Hayward, people at the Hemel Games Club, Formula D was one of the games that they played. So my introduction to modern board gaming, bearing in mind I'd played games like Axis and Allies, Civilization, Acquire, in the 80s and 90s, but they played Formula D, Primordial Soup, and a few things like that. So Formula D was one of the first games that I started playing when I stopped playing Magic the Gathering. So I bought Formula D because at that time, if you play a game, you like it, you buy it. And I played it loads. I sold it a few years ago, having not played it for 10 years, because it's just random. I mean, yeah, okay, you can choose your gear, but it's dice rolling. And I got rid of it. And it takes forever. Absolutely. I mean, hours and hours and hours. So Formula D with 4, 5, 6 players will take hours to play a game, and it's random. Flamme Rouge is, in my opinion, the best racing game that I have played. I love it. I think it's simple enough for non-gamers. Just use the basic track. Don't use the hills or anything like that. Just the basic game of Flamme Rouge is just fantastic and takes about 45 minutes. So yeah, I would always choose that. Nigel says, never mind, looked it up, 90 quid for On Mars. Yeah, or however much it is, I don't know. Vlad just sounds such a tease. He's not a tease, he's a creative genius. David says, as I'm watching this wrapping presents, well, I hope it's a present for me. Is it that ice cream that I've just talked about? What's your favorite game box packaging or insert? Oh, well, a game box is a game box, isn't it? I'm not sure I could have a favorite box unless we're talking about artwork again, which is probably Cerebria. In terms of what comes inside of the box. So a lot of games come with really nice inserts, you know, the plastic molded ones where you fit all of the pieces in and everything else. And I know from working on the Dungeon Lords Kickstarter edition how much time and effort goes into creating some of those inserts and the gaps and where you put the things. And they look great. And you put all the components in them and they look fantastic. And then you transport the box and it tips sideways slightly and all the bits go everywhere. So my copy of Mysterium, Word Slam, Lancaster, the big box version of Lancaster, I've taken the inserts out. Really nice inserts, but useless for transporting. Yeah, I'm not sure. Blackout Hong Kong is a heavy game, right? Says Chris and or Lindsay. Behind the box. No, I don't think Blackout Hong Kong for me is a heavy game. I would class it as medium to heavy. And if it weren't for the scouting phase, it'd probably be medium. But the scouting phase adds a couple of extra complexities to it, which are needed for the game. But I think Blackout Hong Kong is a medium to heavy game, not a heavy game. If you look at how long would it take me to teach you how to play Blackout Hong Kong, it's probably about 10 to 15 minutes. If we look at how long would it take me to teach you a Vital Lacerda game, you're looking at 30 to 40 minutes. So a good measure of how heavy a game is how long it would take to teach, in my opinion. Ian says Blackout is medium. Yeah, definitely at the medium end, but I think medium to heavy. JP, apologies, you missed the first 30 minutes. That's fine, but I did answer your question, so you can watch this later on. Right, if it's heavy, you certainly won't see it coming if it falls off the shelf at night. Yes, very good. JP didn't catch the full email address for the competition, but that's in the chat, so you've got that. Oh, Andy is here. Hello, Andy. Thanks for joining us. PJ Norman wants to know, what themes have you been surprised to have enjoyed? Oh, that is a good question. That is a good question. Themes that I've enjoyed, I can say. Themes that I am surprised that I enjoyed, I'm not sure. So Cerebria, I've talked about it already. The theme of Cerebria is beautiful. It's unique. And I find the theme of Cerebria fantastic. You could strip out the theme of Cerebria and I would still play it. You know, it's a tactical war game, effectively, bit of area control, but you're directly competing with the other team in order to make the objectives. But the fact that the theme of the game is that you're the good emotions and they're the bad emotions, or vice versa, and you're fighting for as this person's growing up and you're trying to shape them to see what kind of a person they would be. It's just fantastic. Spirit Island, I really, really enjoy playing. And the theme of Spirit Island, whilst if that was a game about spaceships, I'd still play it because of the mechanics. The theme of the game is actually quite nice. I'm not surprised that I enjoyed it. Yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of makes me think, oh, is there a game that has a theme and I think I'm not going to like this game because of the theme, and then I did enjoy it? Not sure. Cerebria is heavy. Yes. Yeah, Cerebria definitely heavy. And remember, those are the basic rules. And then there's the advanced rules. So the basic rules are heavy. The advanced rules are heavy plus. Right. If you're looking for different themes, check Bold Bebo's Twitter. Okay. Sons of Anarchy is a great game in your opinion, behind the box, but the theme is about killing and drug running and extortion. Yeah, not interested in that really. All right, explicit content and suggestive themes. Yeah. Do you plan to review Cedars from Cerissus soon? I've not heard of it. Sorry, I am not planning to review that game as I've not heard of it. And this is the thing with gaming now. A game could have come out this year, which if I played it, would have been my favorite game of this year and might become one of my favorite games of all time. But there's so many games coming out can't play them all, and it's, you know, it's a problem that we've just got too many good things. There's games from last year that I've heard were fantastic games, and I've never got a chance to play them. It's just the way it is. So yes, I've not heard of that one. Paul saying Cerebria is very heavy. So yeah, I think, yeah, definitely the base game is heavy and the advanced game is probably super heavy, very heavy. Right, a dandy from Last Will. Oh, I guess this is the things that you want me to dress up as at conventions. Well, when Last Will came out, no, Prodigals Club. When Prodigals Club came out, I went to a few UK events with the whole suit, waistcoat, top hat, and everything. And I've got the accent down. Well, actually, I'd need to probably get a Cockney accent for that. Ben wants me to dress up as the woman of the front of Concordia. What? Old printing or the new one? Or the apple from Newton? That would be quite funny. What are you? I'm the apple from Newton. Ian saying, look at my Facebook picture. Yeah, I could dress up as the blue fluffy thing from Dungeon Pets. Andrew says the squirrel from That's a Question. Nope, I'm never wearing that again. The bidding pillar from Five Tribes. I don't know that. I've played Five Tribes once, hated it. Really didn't like it at all. JP says that we keep messing with my friend using his OK Google to play thematic music. Two of us couldn't keep a straight face as the monk chanting was playing when we were building the cathedral. Brilliant. Susie says, do you like Haribo and what's your favorite? So I like sweet things, but I don't like things like Haribo. I don't like sugary sweets. I like cakes and ice cream and brownies and salted caramel, things like that. So yeah, sweet things, but not necessarily sweet. So yeah, not a big Haribo fan. Terry says played Gugong on Friday. Now Gugong, this is interesting because so many people have said that I'm really going to enjoy the game, and a number of other people have said the game's horrible and I'm not going to enjoy it. I haven't played it yet. I will be playing it in the new year. It's a game which I definitely want to play, but yeah, it seems very mixed in terms of what people are saying about it. Oh, Ian's here. Hello, Ian. Yes, I was talking about you earlier on. So yes, thank you very much for helping me transition from Magic the Gathering into what I'm doing now. And I still have Primordial Soup, or Supper, as I've got it. James Ruddle says, you've got Flamme Rouge coming for Christmas, non-gaming family, so look forward to it. Interesting story about Flamme Rouge. So if you have the second edition of Flamme Rouge, you will see my name as the editor of the rulebook, but not in the first edition. And that is because Louter Pellet contacted me to work on the rules for the expansion. And I'd never played Flamme Rouge at that point, but I'd heard loads about it, and I'd heard it was really good, but I hadn't had a chance to play it myself. So I said, I'm more than happy to work on the rulebook for the expansion, but I don't know how to play the base game. So can you send me the rulebook for the base game first? And they did, and I read through it, and I said, okay, this rulebook's good, but there were a couple of bits that I felt were unclear. Do you want me to tweak the rulebook for the original game of Flamme Rouge before I work on the expansion? And they said, yeah, fine. So that's why you will see my name in the rulebook for the base game. All I did was just tweak a couple of bits, really. So bear in mind, I worked on the rulebook for that game, and I worked on the rules for both of the expansions. And I've played the game loads. I don't know how many times I've played it. 10, 15, 20, and I've taught loads of people how to play it. We played it last Wednesday, and I've been getting a rule wrong all of this time. I'm like, and I helped write this rule book, and it's like, oh my God, I was getting the rule wrong. And I sat down, and this only came to light because we were playing with the expansion set, and something went to 3 lanes, and there was a rider. I can't do this, but right, there's a rider here, and there were 2 spaces ahead of him that were slightly offset. And I was like, right, well, do you get an exhaustion card because there's a rider in one of those spaces, but not the other one? Because in the base game, if there's somebody, so we looked in the rules and read it, and it said, okay, so you get an exhaustion card if the square ahead of you is empty. And I was like, wait a minute. If the square ahead of you is empty, not the space, because they are different things. And it turns out I've been playing it wrong. So you only get exhaustion cards if the entire square ahead of you is empty. And I'd been playing it that if the space ahead of you was empty. And yeah, wow. Anyway, Flamme Rouge, great game. Lewis and Clark is your favorite. See, Lewis and Clark, I need to play again. I mean, Lewis and Clark, okay, so it is a race game, but I can see why some people might not think it's a race game, because race games are really about cars and cycling and things like that. But no, you're right, it is a race game. I played Lewis and Clark when it came out. I played it a couple of times. I quite liked it. It was heavier than I was expecting. Not a problem, but it just threw me a bit. But then I believe it was broken and they had to release a new set of rules that fixed it. And I've not played with those new set of rules. I do want to play it again, though. Right. Adam's saying that I should call the chameleon Derp. No. Right. Oh, Jack's here. Hello. How heavy do you think Brass is? I've not played Brass yet. Well, I have 9 years ago when it came out. I have still not played the new version of Brass. How heavy is it? Paul Luxton, who's in the chat, probably has a better idea. I'm going to say Brass is rules-wise medium. Playing the game well is probably medium to heavy. That's what I'm going to say. I might be wrong. Well, I'm not wrong. That's my opinion. But other people might have other opinions. So yeah, David's off to play badminton. Good. 48 people watching and only 10 thumbs. Yes, if you're watching it, please give a thumb. I don't know if that makes any difference for the live Q&As, but never mind. Right. So there's no time on the chart, so I don't know how far I am behind. Let's have a look. Sebastian says, your game playing is very much limited to your game group. The only new games you tend to buy are heavy Euros, so you would like to try new games. I mean, it's good that you've got a group that plays heavy Euros, because some people like heavy Euros and don't have the group to play them with. But yeah, it would be good if you were able to branch out and play other things. Adam's saying it died in the middle of Paul talking, so I'm not sure what died. I'm hoping it's going out. I'm looking at my screen there, and it looks like it's still going out. Theta's here, huge fan. Thank you very much. Do you ever play games online, Tabletopia, etc., with fans? So yes, my Patreon supporters have access to my Patreon Slack channel, and one of the channels within that Slack channel is for online gaming. I'm currently playing a game of Terraforming Mars using the PC version with David Ellis, who's just gone to play badminton. I'm also playing a game of Madeira with Barb, Paul Luxton, and Tom Fox, and I'm also playing a game of Nippon with some other people, probably the same group of people, I think. Oh, and Chris is in one of those games as well. So yeah, I'm playing Madeira, Terraforming Mars, and Nippon at the moment. I generally don't play games live because I don't have the time. So I play games asynchronously using Board Game Arena or Boy de Jeu or Terraforming Mars. And what I do is when a file is, if I've just filmed a video and I'm copying the file over and it says time to copy 7 minutes, oh, I'll do my turns. So, you know, the little few minutes of downtime I have between a small scene rendering or transferring a file over, I'll pop on and I'll do my online games, which means I get to play more games. And yeah, at the moment, I'm just playing games with my Patreon supporters because they're the people that are helping me create the content, really. So yeah, I do that, and I want to do more of them. And you're saying, yeah, you want to play games and you live too far away, and you know, playing games with people on various points of the world. This is one of the great things about online gaming. You can never beat sitting down at a table with people and playing a game with them. You can't beat that. Online gaming will never replace sitting down at the table, but it means tonight I can do my turn in Madeira and Nippon. So effectively, I'm playing Madeira and Nippon, which are two of my favorite games, against people who are on the other side of the world or one who lives up the road. It's just, yeah, it's great. I do like the online gaming. Right, so did anybody else's feed just vanish in the middle of Paul talking? Hello. Well, I hope it's okay. Oliver's got to go. See you later, Oliver. Have a good holidays, you too. Right, what have we got? Terry says you need to sort out Expo accommodation. You might do Airbnb this year. Yeah, really not happy about what the Ibis Styles did. They doubled their price. Doubled. I mean, that's just crazy. Right. So Paul is saying my opinions on brass on weight are correct, and I'm fairly sure that's what you'd say if you played now. Yeah, even though I've not played it, I know enough about it, and I've seen people play, and I've talked to other people about it. So Jack is saying that your opinion on brass is you say it's lighter than people think, but I mean you like heavy games, and this is always the thing. If I was to put a copy of Forum Trajanum in front of somebody who only plays light games, they're going to say this game is super heavy. It's all relative to what you know. I know Edward from Heavy Cardboard, his scale is one lower than mine. A game that I would say is heavy, he would say is medium, because he's used to playing super heavy games. So his scale is higher. So maybe Jack, maybe your scale is a notch higher, and therefore everything is slightly lower to you. Right. What software do you use to edit your podcast and videos? I use the Adobe Creative Suite for everything. So the Adobe Creative Suite comes with, I don't know, 12 pieces of software. I use Premiere Pro for the editing. I use After Effects for all the digital effects. I use Photoshop for Photoshop stuff. I use InDesign, but not for anything to do with content related to the show. I use InDesign for doing some rulebook work, and I'm using InDesign at the moment to do the table layout for GridCon next year, which I'm going to need help with. Nobody else saw the feed go down. It looks like Adam had a problem with his feed at the time. Yeah, David said online board gaming is something you should look up your period of non-work. Yeah, back in 2003, I took a career break of 3 months and I played 350 games of Puerto Rico. Am I proud of that? Well, I don't know. I'm sure I probably should have done something better with my time, but yeah, there's plenty of online gaming out there, and you're a Patreon supporter, David, so if you want to play some games with me online, let me know, and I'd definitely be up for doing that. Because as I say, I'm going to be having a lot of time sat downstairs in front of the TV and not doing anything. So thank you very much, Theta, in advance for the Patreon support. That's really good. I'm trying to make my next goal by the end of the year. It's not going to happen. Definitely not going to happen. But that's fine. Right. Sebastian says, a feast for Odin in the space lights up when somebody does an action. Oh, it would be cool if there was a board game where your moves were submitted online so you could all play your copies on a shared digital platform. Ooh, that would be cool. I've heard of people playing games over Skype where they both have the physical copy of the game in front of them. And then, you know, if there's an event deck, one player controls the event deck and says, oh, I've drawn this card, and then the other player goes and gets that card. So I've heard of that happening. Susie's saying the price is doubling for Expo have made it impossible for you to go. That's a real shame. I was looking forward to seeing you there. And look around. You don't have to stay at the Ibis Styles. The Ibis Styles doubled their price, but there are Airbnbs in the nearby area, and the train in from central Birmingham is really good. So have a look at other options. Jack's saying that your scale of how heavy a game is broken. It's not broken. It's just higher than mine. Emma's got to go and eat. Enjoy your food. That's ludicrous. Are there any publishers that arrange accommodation? Yeah. So for UK Games Expo, I work for Czech Games Edition. I am the publisher. I'm the person who's booking the hotel rooms for 12 demo staff, I think. So yeah, the fact that the prices have doubled, you might think, okay, that means nothing to me because CGE are going to pay for the room. But I always try to get them a good deal. I'm not going to stay in some crazy price hotel, which is going to cost them a fortune. They could probably afford it because they've sold 4 million copies of Codenames. But it's not the point. I don't want to cost them any more money than I need to. So you're working for Asmodee and you're bringing 200 this year. 200 staff. Wow, that's a lot. What, for UK Games Expo? Gosh, that is a lot. I wouldn't have thought it would be that much. Oh, occasionally work for Asmodee. All right, so you don't work for Asmodee. Tatooine Table Flip is here. Hello, Jimmy. Thank you very much for joining in. And I think I am at the bottom of the chat. Yes, I am at almost the bottom of the chat. Behind the box, you're saying you've played loads of games online with Lindsay's family, and it inspired a video covering some games to use. Great. And Savasculini is saying, yes, you stay away from the centre and catch a train, taking up a good number of carriages. Yeah. So Susie and Debs, look into the options for staying in the centre of Birmingham. I should say it's cheaper. Right, 7:15. I've overrun a bit. One last shout out. If you're watching this live and you want to enter the contest, drop me an email, paul.grogan@outlook.com. And if you are a patron supporter, put that in the message, because you get 2 entries into the contest where you can win £25 worth of game vouchers from Games Law. All you need to do in the email is put the word chameleon, because this is my new furry friend. Hello. And he hasn't got a name yet, or she hasn't got a name yet, or it hasn't got a name yet. I don't know. Yeah, I've got a few suggestions. I've got a lot of suggestions. I've got a few ideas what I want to call it, but I'm not sure. I've just noticed this toe here is shorter than the others. Oh, that's so cute. Anyway, yeah, this is what happens when I've been doing a live show for an hour and a quarter. Start talking nonsense. Right. So yes, I hope you've enjoyed the chat. Drop me an email to enter the contest, and if you win, let me know what you're going to buy with it. Philip wants to come to UK Games Expo. Yeah. If you do, good to see you there, but it's a long, long way to come. But UK Games Expo is fantastic. Andrew says you've been spending many hours trying to wrap your head around Gloomhaven. Do you think it's worth spending the time to learn how to play it? And if so, how? I think it is worth spending the time to learn how to play it if you're going to be playing it a lot and regularly. And there are videos online. Somebody did a video on how to play it, if that helps. And there's playthrough videos as well, but I can't guarantee for the accuracy of the playthrough videos. And if you get stuck, then the other thing that my patrons have access to is the Gaming Rules Hotline. If you're a patron supporter and you've ever got a rules question about a game and you think I will know the answer to it, then you can drop me a message and I will try and answer it 24 hours a day, he says. So yeah, have a good holidays, everybody. I will be doing more content. I've got my top 5 video, which I'll be editing tonight. I've got another review, which I'm hoping to do tomorrow. I've got a Keyflow teach and playthrough video, which I'll be editing over Christmas Day and Boxing Day. I've then got 2 other reviews that I'm supposed to be doing by the end of the year. It might not happen. Depends on how much family time gets in the way, because I've got a couple of days planned. But other than that, that's everything for this year. So yeah, 7:15. I'm exhausted. I need to lie down. Ori's here as well. So many people are here. Thank you very much for all of your support. Thank you very much for coming along. Good luck for entering the contest. I will do the draw any minute now. So this is your last chance to send an email. Merry Christmas to everybody, or happy holidays, or however you choose to celebrate it. Yeah, and I'll speak to you in 2019. Take care, everyone. See you next time.